From Model T chases to million-dollar Lamborghinis, police cars have come a long way. Discover the wild history, badass types, and secret tech stuffed inside these rolling law machines. Buckle up, because this ride through police car evolution is anything but by the book, on today's episode of 5 Weird Things. Welcome to the channel. First, like, subscribe, share the channel. Even if you live a clean and law-abiding life, everybody gets a little oh shit pucker factor going when you see a cop car slide in behind you. I read years ago that the paint design and overall look of cop cars is designed to be intimidating. I can see that. And when your job requires you to wear a gun on your hip and you could get shot at, you want as many advantages on your side as you can get. All right, let's get into it. First, the things we all need to know. A cop car is basically a regular car that went to boot camp. Beefed up suspension, flashing lights, a radio system that sounds like aliens are landing, and a back seat that feels more like a timeout corner. In the US, there are about 250,000 to 300 cop cars in service. Worldwide, over 3 million, because crime doesn't take vacation and neither do the sirens. Everybody got that? Good. Weird thing number 5. What models are police cars? Over the decades, police departments have gone through more car models than a fashion show in Milan. It all started with the Ford Model T. Yes, really. In the 1920s, officers chased criminals at a blistering 30 miles an hour with their mustaches and all. By the 1960s and 70s, police forces embraced the Dodge Polara and Plymouth Fury. Big, boxy, capable of surviving a minor explosion or at least a couple of fender benders during a high-speed pursuit of a jaywalker. These cars had all the charm of a steel refrigerator and the handling of a good shopping cart. Now, the 80s and 90s saw the reign of the almighty Ford Crown Vic, the Elvis of cop cars. It was big, loud, drank gas like it was going out of style, and had the turning radius of a small barge. But hey, it could jump a curb and still write you a ticket. Eventually, departments got fancy with the Chevy Capri, Dodge Charger, and Ford Taurus Interceptor. Sleeker, faster, with actual working air conditioning, which is a true luxury in the summer stakeout, Chargers especially gave off the "I can always bench press more than you" energy. Today's police vehicles include SUVs like the Ford Explorer Interceptor because nothing says tactical superiority like chasing perps in what looks like your neighbor's family road trip car, only with more lights and less patience. In short, the models change, but the mission remains the same. Intimidate, pursue, and occasionally rescue a cat out of a tree. I don't know that cars would do that. Weird thing number 4. The most expensive cop cars in the world. Now, when it comes to catching criminals, some police departments believe in subtlety, while others say, let's do this big and in $1 million sports car. Enter the world of the most expensive police cars, because why settle for a cruiser when you can have a cruiser that also moonlights as a spaceship? Take the Bugatti Veyron, used by the Dubai police with a price tag of around 1.6 million apiece. It can go from 0 to 60 in under 2.5 seconds, perfect for pulling over someone in a Toyota who's going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Totally necessary. And since Dubai is the home of more supercars in the world than anywhere else, you may need this Bugatti. Then there's the Lamborghini Hurricane, used by the Italian police. It's not just for show. They've actually used it to deliver organs for transplant, because apparently your new kidney needs to travel like it's in the Fast and the Furious Medical Edition. Germany flaunts the Porsche 911 Carrera because, well, why not? Nothing says law and order like flashing blue lights on a luxury weekend car. Plus, they have the Autobahn, and the speed on the Autobahn is kind of whatever you can do, and you want to be fast. Now, Japan briefly used the Nissan GT-R, while the UK tested the Ariel Atom, a car with no roof, no doors, and apparently no chill. Meanwhile, in the US, we're out here with Dodge Chargers and Ford Explorers, because someone's got to keep it real while the rest of the world plays Need for Speed. Are these $1 million cars really practical? Not really. But do they make great Instagram content for the departments? Absolutely. And in the end, isn't that what justice is all about? A great Instagram post? Weird thing number 3. Are they modified? Well, hell yes, they are. A standard police car might look like a regular sedan with a bad attitude, but under the hood, and just about everywhere else, it's basically a transformer in disguise. Let's break down the modifications overall that turn a grocery getter into a mobile justice machine. First up, heavy-duty suspension and brakes. Because when you're leaping curves or pulling a U-turn at 60 miles an hour, you need something a little bit tougher than what your cousin's Corolla is rocking. These upgrades says, yes, I can chase you through a parking lot and live to tell about it. Then there's the reinforced frame and bullet-resistant doors. Because sometimes crime doesn't wait politely at the crosswalk. These cars are armored just enough to stop trouble. Though probably not a rocket launcher, so let's not test it. Next, the lights and sirens, or as I like to call them, the disco mode for emergencies. They're mounted everywhere. These make sure you can't say, I didn't see you. You saw. Everyone saw. Even people in the next county saw. Inside, you've got a mobile data terminal, radio system, dash cam, radar gun, and more buttons than an airplane cockpit, all conveniently placed where a cup holder should have been. Oh, and don't forget the cage partition between the front and back seat, because nothing ruins a day faster than a surprise backseat escape attempt. In short, it's part cop car, it's part tank, it's part tech hub, and all business. Unless you're using it to block traffic for a duck parade. Then it's just adorable. Weird thing number 2. What is the most durable cop car model? When it comes to durability, no cop car has achieved legendary status quite like the Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. A vehicle so tough it could probably survive the apocalypse and still issue citations. Affectionately called the Crown Vic, this beast was the go-to cop car from the late 1990s through the early 2010s. It had all the subtlety of a rhino in a china shop and all the charm of your uncle's 90s recliner. Bulky, a little outdated, but surprisingly dependable. Under the hood, a 4.6-liter V8 that wasn't the fastest, but it didn't need to be. The Crown Vic wasn't about speed, it was about grit. It could take a hit, jump a curb, slam a pothole, and then calmly roll up to a drive-thru like nothing happened. It wasn't just durable, it was immortal. Many departments kept them in service long after they were technically obsolete. Some are still running today in small towns, where they've outlasted 3 mayors, 2 city budgets, and 1 really confused possum. Interior? Think prison transport meets taxi cab, where vinyl seats, basic radio, and a vibe that screamed, "You're not here for comfort, dude." Even after it was discontinued in 2011, the Crown Vic became a cult classic. Retired officers speak of it in hushed tones, like it was a loyal partner that never let them down. Because when the going got tough, the Crown Vic just kept idling. And finally, weird thing number 1. The odd retirement and second life of cop cars. After years of high-speed chases, late-night stakeouts, and surviving at least 3 spilled coffees a week, police cars eventually reach the end of their heroic road. But instead of getting a gold watch, they get something even better. They get auctioned off to the public. There's a serious market for these, by the way. Most cop cars retire around 100,000 to 150,000 miles. Though let's be honest, those are hard-earned miles. We're talking hours idling with the lights flashing, hitting potholes at Mach 3, and enough sudden stops to flatten a spleen. But hey, they still have plenty of life left in them, according to every auction listing ever. Side note, there's also a number of old taxis that get auctioned off and they look very similar. Don't be fooled. These are the abused children of cars. Now, they've had very little maintenance and massive miles. I once saw one on a Craigslist ad that had 450,000 miles. Also, it's sometimes a real difference between the police car used for years as an average prowl car, those are hard miles, and the car that was used by a desk sergeant or a detective, sometimes very low miles and gentle use. Once decommissioned, these vehicles are stripped of their lights, sirens, and official decals. They're basically sent to civilian car rehab, where they try to remember what it was like to just be a Ford or a Chevy and not the long arm of the law. Then, they hit public auctions. This is where bargain hunters, budget-conscious drivers, and the occasional confused Uber hopeful scoop them up for the cheap. And yes, the engine may sound like it's seen things, however, that's just character. Bonus, people will instinctively slow down when you drive behind them. Downside, you may inherit a spotlight that you don't know how to remove and a backseat that still smells like justice, for lack of a better term, or maybe regret. In the end, these tough-as-nails cars live on in the civilian world, probably hauling ladders or becoming mystery Craigslist listings titled Fast, Reliable, Slightly Intimidating. Well, that's it for today's episode. Hope it gave you a little view into the world of the one car you never want to see behind you. Do me a favor, watch more of my videos. I would greatly appreciate it. Take care. Have a great day.